I think people have had a reaction to it for different reasons, and when we did it, we knew we would be pushing people's buttons, and that was the idea, was to get people looking at this and kind of scratching their heads about it and question their own approach to their diets and what they choose to eat and all the rest of it. So the idea with the pigs was, we've got this space which we want to demonstrate as a local food hub eventually, where you can demonstrate production of food in an urban environment, and that's productive, but it's also educational and inspirational as well, I suppose.
There's definitely a general feeling that, if you don't know where something's come from, and you can't actually, you get a cellophane packed piece of meat from Tesco's at £2.30 or something, and you think, well, fine, that's a bargain, but then you have to take into account the real cost of that. What's happened to the animal in the process? What's happened to the environment? What's it been fed? Where's that food come from? Has it come from soya which has been imported from another country? What's the cost of that? What does that mean for the rainforest in the country that's come from? And just the animal welfare issue side of it as well. And the people that work with the animals, how does it affect them if they're having to deal with animals that are stressed and obviously suffering? How does that inflict on their mental stability?
So we got the pigs from our current pork provider, that's Locavore Rare Breed Meats. They're a free-range pork producer that uses heritage breeds just outside Glasgow. So we'd already been selling meat from this source, and these pigs would have came through our shop and been sold here anyway.
On a couple of occasions, I suppose people were a little more upset, and they felt it was a real shame that the pigs were going to be slaughtered. And I think that's what you would probably expect. People that aren't used to seeing these animals in this environment, so inevitably some people are going to be surprised by that when they find out about it, which I think shows partly why the project is so valuable, because it's given people the chance to see that interaction, see the meat production up close.
I think most people that were there were absolutely intent on trying to save those two pigs' lives, and as far as they were concerned, it was grossly unfair on those animals that they were going to die. There were people there that had become very attached to them, that felt they'd been lied to, which I don't think's fair. I think because there weren't signs there the whole time, I think quite often signs came down in the wind or people took them down. And I guess if you're not going to be there always putting signs up again, the message perhaps didn't get across to everybody that the pigs were there for slaughter. So I think some people felt that they'd been misled.
So I think for some people there was an element of the protest which was, it's wrong to kill animals, full stop, and there's no scale on that. There's not better if the animal still ends up dead at the end of the day. And if that's a sort of a moral, ethical point of view, then that's absolutely fine. But I think there's definitely more major players that they could be shouting at about that than a small enterprise trying to do something in the best possible way.
A chap from Scotland for Animals there that was saying, this is terrible. Before we know it, people are going to start keeping pigs in their back gardens and growing their own, having chickens and all this sort of thing. Where does it stop? I actually think that if people were to keep pigs in their back gardens and have chickens of their own, that would be a very good thing.
We did a survey before the pigs were killed, and we asked people a variety of questions about how has it changed their thoughts about eating animals, how has it changed their thoughts about the type of animals and the level of welfare they receive, and also, having seen these animals go through their lives, would they like to reserve some meat and in that know that they'd be fully responsible for these animals being killed? And we had a huge response of people saying, yes, I'm prepared to sort of take on that personal burden and say that I'll buy some of this. So we could have sold these pigs probably 5 or 6 times over. They go from the abattoir to the butcher, where they're prepared into recognisable chunks of meat that, you know, that most of us are used to. So the trotters, the snout, all that sort of stuff that you don't really see around butchers anymore, but we should be making the most of, really. You know, if you're going to kill an animal, I think it's respectful to use as much of that as possible.
It'll be interesting when the meat's in front of me. I don't know that I've ever eaten an animal that I've really known before, and I don't know how I'm going to feel about it. I've got quite mixed feelings about it now, because I did go up and see the pigs so often, and it is quite sad in many ways. But I think it's just the fact that this meat has been reared in a really good fashion. I think these pigs have had a great life, and yeah, I'm really, really pleased to have been involved in some small way in that project.
We aimed this project at the way people who eat meat think. So it was to do with people that already eat meat and getting them to think about how much meat they eat, the quality of the meat they eat, and the impact that has, and also bring it home to people. So, you know, look your dinner in the eye almost, you know, and see if you still feel comfortable about it. And that had a big impact. From our survey, you know, a lot of people, I think around about 40% of people said they were now eating higher welfare or organic meat. People said they were going to eat less meat. A couple of people went vegetarian. A couple of vegetarians said that they might think about eating this meat. So it's been really interesting watching how it's changed people's perceptions and ideas, and the reach that has been phenomenal. I mean, we've had huge amounts of hits on social media. We've had several sort of newspaper articles. People see this, and you know, it's been a massive talking point on the south side of Glasgow and beyond.